Hello, government students. Today's lesson is going to be about Article 1 of the Constitution, which discusses the legislative branch, which is one of three branches of our government. And so just to recap, our first lesson that we did on distance learning, we looked at the parts that make up the Constitution. So you have your paper here in 8 squares, but again, there really are 7 parts with the preamble. And so then earlier this week, you looked at the introduction to the Constitution, which is our preamble, and it lays out the 6 goals they hope to accomplish with the Constitution. So today, like I said, we're going to be looking at the first chapter in the book, or the first article. And again, this discusses the legislative branch, and their main job and the main part of power of the legislative branch is to make laws. So I usually let students to try to keep them straight is by connecting the letter L, laws, with legislative branch, because that's, again, what their main power is. So really what I'm going to do with this video is just kind of go over the assignment with you, as well as point out some of the key pieces of the reading that you're going to be looking at. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And let's see here. Okay, so the assignment has 4 main directions, and so just follow the directions here. After you watch this video, unless you watch the YouTube video first, that's fine, but either way, you're going to watch this YouTube video, What is the Legislative Branch? So this is from the History channel, and just kind of goes over that as a quick overview. And then the second thing says to read the Congress in a flash reading. And so let me click on that. Oops, sorry, my screen is, okay, here that is. And so what I actually did with this reading is I added some notes here and there, and then I highlighted information. So if you download this into a PDF, you can actually see that there's different colors. They don't really mean too much, but I just try to color coordinate to make things pop, to hopefully pull out more of the key information in the reading. And so again, since we're doing this online, we can't go into depth. So this is Congress in a flash. So if you look in this first paragraph, it's just going to talk about the basics of the legislative branch and what they do, which is making the federal laws. It talks about the legislative branch or Congress being bicameral. Bi is 2. So there's 2 main houses, which if you look down here, this is one house, the Senate, and then the House of Representatives is the second house. And then this next paragraph talks about how Congress works and what kind of laws they're making. Here it explains what you're going to actually see in the Constitution as far as if you want to be a senator or a House of Representative, and then who they represent, and some of their main jobs. Here it says special duties. And then checks and balances is just how they help balance in the rest of, with the rest of the branches of government. So that way one branch isn't too powerful. So the second page goes into more specifically what Congress can do. So this next section talks about the main things that they are doing when they're working in Washington, D.C., besides making laws. One of the more interesting things is that Congress actually declares war, as you see written here. So not the president. Sometimes students don't know that. They coin money and making sure that they carry out our post office and collect taxes. Okay, so these are some of those powers there. And then just like in our other branches, there's people in charge to help kind of like facilitate and lead meetings. And so actually the vice president, so currently Mr. Pence would be the leader of the Senate, but sometimes he can't participate. And there's also a president that is elected, and currently that's Nancy Pelosi. Okay, the last section here is how Congress actually makes a law. And I added here that it's a very long and difficult process. In fact, most laws presented to Congress don't actually become or I should say most bills presented to Congress don't actually become a law. So a bill is before a law, it's an idea. And as you'll see here with the video, it kind of goes over that. But this is the process here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's some arrows, but it's also numbered. And so it kind of goes through this process. And if anywhere in this process it gets, nixed or there's a no, then it's thrown out and it can, be presented, but usually then it won't get very far again. So down at the bottom too, I wrote they only passed about 100 total laws last year. So not a lot, because again, it's very difficult for them to pass laws. And if you've been paying attention to the laws that are passed, like the stimulus package, just in something like in emergency mode, it has taken weeks. So can you imagine how like a regular bill, how long that would take? Okay, so after you're done reading through this and just looking at my notes, if you go back to the assignment, it says to 3, watch the Schoolhouse Rock video. And I know it's silly, here's another old school video, but it goes over how a bill becomes a law with a little catchy song. So you would do that. And then the final assignment, which is really just your task, is going to be to fill in this information here on the document. So some of you had some problems with the anatomy one. You would want to open it with a PDF, program on your computer, because then if I open it on mine, you won't be able to see it on the screen. But anyway, once you open it, there will be spots for you to fill in. Otherwise, you could download it as a Google Doc. But again, if you download it as a PDF, you should be able to just put your answers right there. And then when you go to turn in your assignment, you'll have to just make sure you save the PDF after you've put your answers in, because if you don't, then it goes back to the way it was, which will be without answers. Once you save it, then you can attach it and turn it in with this assignment. So most of you are doing that. I only have just like a handful of students who had a problem before. So just make sure that you're following those directions. And then I think that's it actually for the assignment. I just wanted to tell you too, we're going to be meeting together as a class on Monday and Tuesday. And let me stop sharing my screen here. On Monday and Tuesday, so 3rd period on Monday and 6th period on Tuesday, we're going to meet together, and I'm going to go over kind of filling in these notes to review. So we'll add some details and some pictures onto these notes here that you took in that first lesson. And then we'll move on to Article 2, which is about the president or the executive branch. So that's the plan. Again, just make sure that you email me if you have any questions, follow the directions, read, check out other videos about information that will help you understand the legislative branch better. Alrighty.